Hello, 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 and welcome to the Texas Live. I am Shane Moore, and I am joined tonight by Patricia Davis. Um, Sue Ellen is on vacation, and so um, Patricia was kind enough to join us. And tonight we'll be talking about the limitations of human consciousness and discussing how discussing the power of human consciousness and how it affects the world around us. Asking questions like what exactly is human consciousness? What is consciousness? And more than that, um, can it even be described? And I think that's something that Patricia would know because she's a psychology student, and that's her forte. So, um, but if if we can't describe it, does it even exist, or can it be proven that it does exist? That it does exist. Um, and another question is: consciousness a part of the mind, or is it distinct from the mind? Get ready for a truly fascinating discussion. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Going to take a short break and allow listeners who want to join our live chat to do so. We'll be right back. We are back. Hello, hello, hello. We are back. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Mona's going to give us feedback on the sound. So thank you, Mona. Anyway,
Hi again, Mona.
kind of a it has been a nightmare. This is it's been rough. So um, yes, yes. Okay. Thank you. And but anyway, okay. Thank you. I'm glad. Glad it's about time that I was very clear. Okay. Thank you. And okay. Thank you. Thanks for the
Oh,
sound check.
thanks, Mona.
Anyway, talking about human consciousness. What is it? How would would you even begin to describe it? I mean, it's is it tangible? Is it something that can be measured? I mean, you can't see it. So, Patricia, you want to weigh in on that? I mean,
Well, it's definitely not easy to actually describe. Although we all we all know what consciousness is, but we just have no way to actually describe it or to prove it outside of anecdotal evidence or of our own personal experiences. Several theorists have actually tried to explain what consciousness is, and we still have not done it yet. It's not really easy.
my question, or something that I immediately thought of when you said that is, I mean, I'm just this is just how my mind goes. My consciousness is what if what if at the end of everything that life 101 we find out that consciousness is God. Whoa, yes, I said that. What if? Okay, thank you.
So, really quick question,
Uh huh.
but when you mentioned that, do you mean that, say, when we die, if we're not actually experiencing consciousness ourselves, but we're going back to the source or whatever you want to call it, and then we're experiencing that through the source? Is that what you mean?
Right. What what I'm saying is, or I'm just putting it out there, is what if what if we we are the source? What if it's just a higher um, it's just a higher form of ourselves, or what if we find out that the collective consciousness is God, and that in each one of us, that part of what we call consciousness is that divine spark. I I truly I truly believe that that could be the case. I mean, so
It very well could, but it kind of sounds like you're pulling a little bit of Jung's theory in there too, with the collective consciousness and stuff like that.
right. Well, maybe maybe not collective consciousness, but maybe just different experiences as a whole.
Right.
Such, I mean, it's it's like God or the source, the creator. would would have to know everything, would have to experience everything, correct?
Right.
So that
Watch out, guys. We're just gonna have like a constant paradigm of questions and no answers.
right. Okay, Lane, you say you can barely hear anything. I I don't see
Anyway,
I don't see how that's possible. I really don't. Um, I mean, I've got everything cranked up so much that I think I'm getting a slight echo. Wow. Um,
hey, Michelle, she says, I think we are sparks of source experiencing and growing ourselves. We will create universes ourselves eventually. That's actually a really good idea, actually, or a
well,
pretty tangible theory.
well, yes, because now used to I would say with you might turn it off and turn it back on. You know, reboot might help Elaine. I mean, I'm not. I have no idea. So, but years ago, I would have said that. Would have said no. You know, there's no way. But when you look at the pictures of uh, the neural pathways in our brains that have been taken with electron microscopes, and you put those next to galaxies, stars, you can't tell the difference. I mean, they look like that they are um, the one and the same. So that could be. I mean, it could be. But and then we also go back to, or I do go back to the simulation theory. If it's all a hologram, if this is all a simulation, then it's nothing more than, um, as far as creating universes, it would just be creating a program. And that's my theory. And I know that it may may sound crazy, and if it is, then I'm crazy. But I truly believe that that this is a this is a simulation. It's a test, and so I think that it's just a matter of us creating um, programs, um, digital, well, simulations. If I think that's what enlightenment is, I think that's what transcendence is um, maybe that's even what spirit is a hologram where because and when I say spirit, I'm talking about the form, not the meaning, not the essence, but the form. I mean, you can walk through a wall, right? I mean, people that have seen ghosts or spirits, they walk through the wall. Well, a hologram can do that. So, Patricia, what are your thoughts on um, as far as the as far as consciousness being distinct or a part of the mind? Is is it a part of the mind or is it distinct from the mind? Because so many people, when you say consciousness, they automatically think that that is synonymous with mind, and it's really not.
I'm honestly not really sure because experiencing consciousness as a reality or whatever they're. I don't even know if they even dream. Sorry if I'm fully quoting this incorrectly.
No, you're fine.
But, I mean, do they dream? Like, do they experience that consciousness of the dream and stuff like that as their own reality? Who knows? And what about those who have had near-death experiences? Like, are they similar to coma survivors, or those who are in comas? I don't know.
Right. Well, one thing here, Michelle says, I think we identify too much with the body. What if we are the aura controlling the body? The body is a tool projection. Yeah, I view the body as being a vehicle to get around in this three-dimensional world. It's nothing more than a skin suit. That's that's all it is. I mean, it's a machine, what we call a biological machine, but nevertheless, it's a machine. Yes, Mona, a vessel, absolutely. But a tabernacle, an earthly tabernacle, is what the Bible says. But nevertheless, I mean, it is not something that, well, it's not something to trust in, because when we're born, we begin to die, physically. So it's really not something to put a lot of faith in. Of course, I mean, we want to take care of ourselves and everything, but as far as, if there was a warranty program for the human body, whoever sold those warranties would be broke, because the body is not meant to last, and it doesn't last. But the spirit does. Consciousness does. So, exactly. You say the ego is the physical body, and the observer or heart-based thoughts, actions, is the real us. Right. Absolutely. And that is when we are born, we're not educated. We're indoctrinated to that we are our body, and that we are to give in to the desires of our physical body. And that is what this world system, that's what runs this world system, is whatever pleases your physical body. Whatever pleases your mind, your ego, whatever pleases that, do it, go for it. And that's what is advertised. That's what is pushed on us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It never stops. Why? Because, just like you said, Michelle, most people, I would say probably 95% of the population, they live by gratifying the desires of the physical body, the ego. Why? Because that's all they've ever known. That's all they've ever known. It's not that they're bad people. They've just never experienced true spirituality. I mean, it's something foreign to them. And also, I don't mean to keep blabbing this or explaining this, but or my theory on it, but everything. Take Las Vegas for example. What's it called? Sin City, And I'm not talking about sin. I mean, I'm just talking about it's called a a bad place. So okay, Mona, you say that you disagree with that's all that they've ever known. Well, I'm saying that from birth, um, they've been indoctrinated. They they weren't really given a choice to to feed their spirit. It's all been about the body. It's all been about the ego, fame, fortune, pleasure, and there is a very very concentrated effort, very powerful too, that it simultaneously advertises and sells this ideology to our ego, to our the desires of our physical body, and blinds or numbs the yearning for the most part for the spiritual. Okay, Mona, you say being conscious about being aware of others around them, being courteous, then it's about society and how they're being raised. This this world is full of selfish people. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Is from birth they're it's how they're raised. Why? Because it's just like many people who were abused become abusers. Why? Well, that's that's what they've experienced. And Patricia told a true story about this. This has been about a year ago, and it really touched me. I mean, I was not expecting it. But Patricia, if you would, you can tell it about the young man that was beating the girl or sexually assaulting her or something, and then he came to
Right.
what now?
Oh, I was just saying, oh, right, because you kind of reminded me on what it was I told you.
Yes.
um,
Listen to this. This is really really powerful. So
so I think this was actually a story that was, well, a book and stuff like that, but I don't know who the author is.
oh okay.
Um, I don't, I think it's called Monster, but it could be wrong. Uh, but essentially, how I heard this story was in the form of a song uh, that was performed by Meg and Daya. Um, essentially, what it's about is a little boy, he gets abused and neglected and stuff like that. And all he wants is just to be nurtured and cared for. Uh, but he never really gets it. So when he gets older, he steals this girl away, um, and essentially sexually assaults her and abuses her and stuff like that and rapes her. And so they actually produce a child, and she is definitely not happy. Um, but they realize that um, the main guy, he's only known abuse, and so he only knows that, so he can't really learn kindness as easily as
Well,
Um,
you when you first told it, you said that that he says later in the book or whatever that he that he had been so abused and so systematically abused that that's how he was showing, somehow showing, as weird as it is, his love for her, right?
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah,
I mean, that was my interpretation of it.
that's messed up. I mean, that's crazy, but yeah, I mean, in very very um, severe cases, I mean that would be the correct definition of insanity, in my opinion. Um, is someone who they truly do not know what they're doing. They have no idea, just like this guy. And I thought that it was a true story, but forgive me for that. But yeah, it's definitely a good. It's a great message because on a lesser to a lesser degree, there's probably many people that they mistreat others because you know very much the same pattern or in the same way that they were treated. So
I just wanted to add really quick the sentence that actually really cemented that for me was, and he slowly saw their nightmares were his dreams. And that exactly shows that, he was trying to actually be loving and affectionate to them, but he realized what he was actually doing was, by their definition, a nightmare.
hmm, that's that is that's profound. I mean, it really is. But the question is, or the proof of whether or not, if this this was a true story, if the guy would be guilty or if he would be insane and not guilty, would be did he change his behavior? Let's see, Michelle, you say many true stories out there like that. Trauma is rampant. It absolutely is. When a child gets abused, it creates alters to the personality as well. Yes, DID, dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as MPD, multiple personality disorder. And yes, the mind, um, I've talked about it many times on the show. The mind basically, it's like it has a meeting with itself and decides to that the only way to save the whole is to sacrifice the part, and it splits. And but DID, dissociative identity disorder, is not what you see in the movies. It is not like the movie Split. Dissociative identity disorder is not like that. I mean, to some degree, yes, but definitely not like you see in the movies. There are probably more people than you would think, than you would ever realize, that they have alters. They have dissociative identity disorder. They have alters, multiple personalities, whatever you want to call them. But they're just they can function with it. They're just better at hiding it. But I, my theory is, my belief is that it is there's much a larger percentage of the population than, I think that they say it's like 2% of the population. I think it's more like 20%, really, you know. And I could be wrong, but who knows? But definitely it is, like you said, it's rampant. So, and another thing is with just like everything else, you have duality, right? You have you you have the light, you have the darkness, you have you have the positive, you have the negative. Um, isn't that so? Same with consciousness and with dissociative identity disorder. I believe that when you hear or you see, like on the news, or you read, stories about someone that just, they're happy-go-lucky, and one day they just snap and they murder everybody in their family, or just do something horrible. Could it be that, one of the authors said, "To hell with all this. You know, I'm pulling the big top down now," and just, yeah, because there have been many reports of people that say, well, he or she was like they were possessed. Well, were they? I mean, could that be what, so-called possession actually is nothing more than an altar that has gone rogue? Definitely something to think about. Yes.
Fun fact, DID actually comes from a very stressful, traumatic event, and so it kind of like, how to explain this? It kind of like shields the main personality from
Right.
like breaking down, essentially.
Right. It's a defense mechanism. It's in this is the way I see it, is that the mind splits off and, sacrifices like a part to take that anxiety, to take the abuse, so the core personality doesn't have to. I mean, I don't know if that's what's taught um, now, or if it was ever taught, but that's the way I see it. So,
Kind of.
something like
Where
that.
you don't really go over it a whole lot, honestly.
Well, that's really something, because it's like Michelle says, it's a walk in consciousness. Let's see, you say, though people can be programmed to have alters by a code word, in the mainstream population, it's trauma and multiplicity of things. Yes. Well, the code word. Well, that's the it's basically form of hypnosis. Look up Milton Erickson, as far as quick, almost instantaneous hypnosis, and by the disruption technique. And the disruption was in the mind. It was in the consciousness. It's where people you see people every day walking down the street. You see people driving. Where what where are they? They're lost in. It's like Michelle says, it's a walk in consciousness. they're not there. They are doing what they're doing because most of humanity are creatures of habit, right? So, what Milton Erickson did was discovered he discovered that um, that if someone walked up to him and asked him what time it was, and he said something, he replied something to them like, "Boots don't have shoelaces." That that would disrupt their thought process. That would disrupt their mind, and it would give him a way in. You said you said code word. It's very much like that. That would give him a way in because their mind would, for a split second or maybe longer, would be trying to figure out what is going on. I mean, why would that makes no sense? And in that split second, in that the door would be open, and he could basically he could have someone, it's kind of like um, Darren Brown does the same thing, and to total strangers, and says, "Hey, give me your wallet," and they give him their wallet with everything in it, and he turns around, and walks off, and they walk off. Of course, he gives it back, but I mean that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's just disrupting their thought processes, but not really their thought process. It's going to the core of their consciousness, I believe, because if it was their thought processes, it wouldn't be like they would be thinking, but it's like they're already in a trance, so they their their own mind has basically done the difficult part. It's already made sure that they're in a trance, that they're in an alpha state at least, and very open to suggestion. So, and Michelle, you ask, how do we expand our awareness, consciousness? Well, uh, I I don't think we do. I think it expands itself, and what I mean by that is I believe that we don't expand our consciousness. I believe that it expands us. However crazy, if that makes sense, because the truth is if we were in charge, or if we were in charge of expanding our consciousness, then 99% of the population would all be enlightened tomorrow. Boom. Everybody wants a quick fix. And I've had people come to me and ask me that very thing, or ask me, "So when did you ascend? When did you become enlightened?" And I'm like, "Excuse me? What? I I'm not there." Oh, no problem, Patricia. Thank you for being here and joining, and um, for your input. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
And
Night, everyone.
sweet dreams. And enjoyed having you and look forward to seeing you again. So, good night, and we will see you later. But you say, I think we expand our consciousness by the decisions we make and the people we affect for the better. Yes, that's by experience, by our experiences, by what we experience, is what I'm trying to say. But we're not in charge of what we experience, for the most part. In fact, the truth is if you really want to get down to it, most, well, no one is in charge of anything. I mean, we're all that being in charge. Yes, we're not in charge of what happens to us, but we are responsible. We are in charge of how we react to what happens to us, to what we experience. Absolutely. And I think that's how that we grow. That's how we expand our consciousness, is by how we take those punches that life dishes out. Hey, Stacy, glad you're here. You say, but do you think that as people fail to meet Erickson's hierarchy of needs, they cannot help their children get to that point, that they are out? So the lower down on the hierarchy of needs, the more self-centered, the more self-focused people are. Yes. Absolutely. Let's see. Okay, you say, but do you think that as people fail to meet Erickson's hierarchy of needs, they cannot help their children get to that point, that they are out? So the lower down on the hierarchy of needs, the more self-centered, the more self-focused people are. Well, I think that it's unfortunately it's a sad truth that that we're not born. We are born ego driven. We are born with what I call meism, me, and it's just like, and that is reinforced as we're babies. I mean, it's the baby cries. The baby cries because it's hungry, and it gets fed. I mean, boom, and then I don't know if you want to call it nurturing, or it or whatever, nurturing, maybe overly so, but it's it somehow feeds our the human condition, which is ego driven. It's no, it's fine. Um, let's see what we are also more um, what's it, children together before indoctrination. I'm I'm not sure what you mean by that. Teach teach your children or before indoctrination. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's all good. It's no problem. There's there's a lot of different there's a lot of different people out there that so names can certainly get confused. Okay, Michelle, you say children are loving. Well, not all children are. I mean, there's some children that are nightmares. I mean, I'm just I mean, I'm not being being rude or being difficult. I'm just being truthful. I mean, not all children are loving. I mean, there's some that are really cold, and so yes, but your question um, about the I don't I know some of that. I've read some of it about the hierarchy of needs, uh, and that's very important. But I that's about it's about 50-50, I would say, maybe more, but yeah, I think that if their needs aren't met, that yeah, that they become or that they're more likely to become that more negative or um, unpleasant. And you say that's why I said before TV programming or abuse. I'll tell you, to be honest with you, if I had children, there would be no TV. Be no TV. No, I mean that is the number one. That is the number one thing that. Oh, I mean, if you want your consciousness to be hijacked, or you want your children's consciousness to be hijacked, yeah, let them watch TV. Even if you're watching it with them, just do it, and I guarantee you, they it it will be a miracle if they escape from it because it's so subtle and effective and powerful. That's why I haven't watched TV in 13, 14 years. I mean, I might, I might watch a movie. That's right, garbage in, garbage out. I might watch a movie, but not very likely that I'm going to sit through a movie. When you think about it, there are people every day, and if this describes you, I'm I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just saying people are most people are oblivious to that they walk around in that trance state. It's like Kathy O'Brien, Transformation of America, or whatever. They don't know that they're literally in a trance. Why? Because you're told you're free all the time. I mean, it is, you are indoctrinated that you are free, that you live in the land of the free, the home of the brave. And I love America. I'm not picking on America. I'm just saying that if you have to constantly have that reinforcement that you are free, are you really free? and and that you're safe, are you really safe? I think not. I think something's going on. If you have to constantly be told that you're free and you're safe. So, but television and Hollywood, that is it's death, it's poison for any for your developing or expanding consciousness. Why? Because it was literally created to shut it down. Um, right, absolutely, Michelle, and that's why I'm saying is is that that's why I would not let my kids, even if I had kids, if I had grandkids, I wouldn't let them watch these cute little shows, because I can see so much of the indoctrination, and it's so subtle that the kids, I mean, they can be 2 or 3 years old, and man, they're eating it up like candy. I mean, their mind is just like a sponge, and that's why that they make so these cute little uh, cartoons, and I don't even know what you call them, claymations, is what we used to call them. Much more realistic now, and I guarantee it is poison. It is poison. It is meant to keep the spirit, to keep any true power far away from the from those that watch it. I have no idea what that is. Bubble guppies for Peppa Pig, but there's so much in. Oh man, Disney. Oh my God, that's horrible. I mean, it's Disney is like really really bad. Um, let's see. Still, you see, but look what we grew up on though: extreme violence. Well, yes, and I'm I'm not really saying all children would um, that would happen to, but a lot of them it would. I mean, yeah, it's definitely definitely taking a chance, and but there are so many people that they get into a habit, and they become entrenched. It's like I was talking about. They're driving to work, they're driving to school, or and they're already in a trance. They're a million miles away, but they're doing what needs to be done. And lights are on, but nobody's home. They're in a trance. That's why back in the 40s or 50s, that's why Milton Erickson could walk up and disrupt someone's thought process by saying something that did not make any sense at all. What was he doing? He was breaking their habit. I mean, he was making them think something that powers that be, they don't want you to do. They don't want you to think. They just want you to accept, to be an open door and blindly just take whatever walks in. And a lot of people say that Milton Erickson was practicing black magic or witchcraft, and it probably could be classified as that. Hell, I think the guy did a good thing. Now, I don't know of him ever harming anyone or whatever, but he could certainly manipulate someone to an awful degree if he wanted to. And in my opinion, that is the definition of black magic, witchcraft, whatever you want to call it, is manipulation of someone against their will, or someone that is unaware that you're doing it. Michelle, you asked what are the limitations of human consciousness? Well, the truth is, my theory, what I believe, I don't believe that there are any I don't believe that there are limitations to human consciousness. And when I say that, this will really help some people, and some people it won't. But it's like the saying, exactly. I feel the same way, Lane. I don't think that there are. I do not believe that human consciousness has any limitations. And because of that, it doesn't. If I said, I believe it has limitations, then it would. What am I, saying? I'm saying I am observing consciousness. I'm making it what it is. When you read, spiritual books, when you read sacred text, whether it be the Bible or whatever, what does it say? What does it just, keep reinforcing? Believe, have faith. Believe, have faith. If you will only believe, what is the opposite of fear? Faith. So it's basically your limitations are what you believe they are. And when you believe that there are none, then you're right. When you believe that there are, you're also right. It all comes back to you. It's a cycle. I mean, it's like a boomerang. It's the golden ratio, literally. The golden spiral that's found in nature. everything comes back to you. Everything. People say, you know, he or she acts like the world revolves around them. Well, it does. Their world. Your world revolves around you. If the universe is constantly expanding, then I'm always in the center of the universe, right? And you're always in the center of the universe. And Elaine, you are. You're in the center of the universe. And Michelle, you are in the center of the universe. We all are. If it's constantly expanding, then yeah. So ponder that. Let's see. You say, I think anything that keeps you from asking questions is what limits our consciousness. Well, I think that would be fear, some type of fear of being ridiculed, fear of being harmed, or it's just like Elaine said, it comes back to fear. Elaine, you say there are going to be individuals who are straight out followers like sheep. Then you will have those who will lead. Then you will have those who are in the middle and sway back and forth at times. Yes, exactly. And truthfully, I would rather have people that would be straight out followers or never follow at all, but can't stand the ones that sway back and forth. That's just no good at all. That's right. Absolutely. I agree 100%. Blind faith in religion, government. Yeah. That's exactly what they tell you. Yes. And when somebody tells me or they've, told me in the past, well, you don't question God, I'm like, I do. I do. They're like, well, that's a sin. No, it's not. Look, the truth is I don't believe in a God that I can't question. Like my question's going to threaten this source, this almighty God. If my questions threaten him or threaten it or threaten, that's not God. Well, you say swaying is part of the journey you're climbing the mountain. I'm thinking more of someone who wants to play, and they're not serious, and they benefit from swaying because sadly, and there's not a lot that I've experienced, but the ones that I have experienced like that, yeah, they were real nightmares because they were users, and they just did it to I mean, play. Yeah, they're playing you. They're using you. They're acting like, oh yeah, I'm with you and I believe this, and they get close to you. They get close to people in your group or whatever that are on the right path, and then they take off or they sway to the opposite side of the spectrum and mislead a lot of people. Yeah, I'm not. I don't. That's not even trying to grow. That's just manipulating people for their own gain. And I've been through it. I have seen it firsthand, and sadly, it's been was a member of my own family. I mean, yeah, that was rough. But yes, play is probably a misleading term because not playing. It's very serious, and but we live and learn. Yes, absolutely. Predator, narcissist, energy feeder. Um, yeah, vampire. Spiritual vampire, energy vampire. What do? They use you to satisfy their own hunger, their own needs, and they're very good at it. That's what you. Matter of fact, that is a prerequisite to being, uh, or seemingly that's a prerequisite to being the pastor of these mega churches. You have to be a predator. You have to be a narcissist. You have to be an energy feeder, and you can't be very human. And if you meet all of those things, then you're on your way to being a very, very successful televangelist, like Kenneth Copeland, Jesse Duplantis, all these idiotic, oh, these wolves in sheep's clothing that fly around in their private jets that people who can't afford to even buy themselves a used car, yeah, have all contributed so they can have a $20 million jet to fly around, to fly to Hawaii, and supposedly spreading the the gospel. No, no. They're the worst of the worst to me. So, you say, I think there are people who can be vessels for lower entities. You're absolutely right. You say they focus on the light. They're drawn to the light, but they also fear it. It's very strange. Yes, well, me too. It makes me sick too because as far as a lot of it, right, donate to people around you. Donate to people um, where you're actually helping, and you can see that you're helping. But when you donate to when you donate to a church, not to all churches. I'm not saying that all churches are bad, but I'm just saying that these mega churches and it's like Kenneth Copeland. I mean, I call him Howdy Doody. He looks like Howdy Doody. He's his net worth is like $1 billion. He doesn't just have one jet. He's got like 3 or 4, maybe 5. I don't know. Has his own air airport. I mean, the guy is just, you know, Catholic Church, the Vatican. That's right. Yep, absolutely. Money, money, money. And so, but the people like Kenneth Copeland and all this, I, they number one they are completely ignorant of any type of true spirituality, or growth of your spirit, your consciousness, whatever you want to call it, your heart, because they don't have one. They just pretend to. Now they're very good at that, but their goal is to rob you of your growth, because what are they doing? They're feeding their desires. They're feeding their ego, and the really, really interesting thing about that is they're they're con men. Why? Because that's all they can be. I'm serious. They so many people think that people like Kenneth Copeland and Jesse Duplantis and Creflo Dollar, all these, you know, millionaire, I mean, multimillionaire pastors, and that they have, you know, they call them Dr. Kenneth Copeland or whatever. Those are honorary. That's like honorary degrees. They don't have their PhD. They don't even have an associate's degree. Not that you need one, but I'm just saying, people think that they're so intelligent and that they've accomplished so much. They haven't accomplished anything. And what they've done is they have followed and they've worshipped and they have submitted to what? A man, a human being. And that's what they teach, is they teach what someone else taught. Kenneth Copeland's case, his God was Kenneth Hagin Sr. Kenneth Hagin Sr. was, the guy was a nut job. He really was. He was the one that would stand up to preach, and he's the one that started the laughing phenomena, where the people fall down laughing, and they just laugh and laugh and laugh, and everybody's, hey, this is great. I'm thinking, no, it's not. It's creepy. How is that expanding, or how is that causing your consciousness to be fed? How is that feeding your spirit, your consciousness, whatever you want to call it? It's not. It's actually limiting. It's shutting you down. But you're being told that you're increasing in power when you're getting weaker and weaker. You say, "Oh my God, they got over 10 million in a day for the cathedral, and the Catholic Church is one of the top 5 richest organizations in the world. The church today makes me ill. It's all a lie." Well, I when you say the church today, the church leadership, and I'm talking about the Vatican, the church leadership, not the members. not the ones that that think that they're doing good by going and giving. I mean, I've been there, and I had no idea till my eyes were opened, and I'm like, wow, all that I was told that was bad may have been bad, but it wasn't as bad as this turned out to be. You know, religion is regression, not progression. Well, the very word religion comes from the Latin religare. I mean, relegate, pull back. You say the members are sheep asleep. Well, yeah, well, you could say the same thing about life itself. You could say the same thing about this world system that's basically, believe it or not, and you can take this for what it's worth. It is a very it's a paradox um, because um, what does the Bible talk about? It talks about a world system that's called the beast system, and it talks about the city that sits on 7 hills and is rich beyond measure. The Vatican sits on 7 hills, or it is one of 7 hills, and it is rich beyond measure. Yes, but the Bible says that it's evil. It says that it's evil, and so if they put it out there, and I really don't know how to explain it. I mean, I know that they, in what was it, 325 at the Council of Nicaea, that they chose what books went into the modern day Bible, but that's why that I talk about that the Bible is mainly metaphorical language. I mean, it's truth upon truth upon truth. Well, wait now. You say I'll send you a video. You don't have to broadcast the below. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about there, but all right. The Bible, 12, 12 tribes of Israel, the zodiac. I mean, yeah, 12 sons of Jacob, Israel. Yeah, zodiac. It's pretty clear. I mean, but the problem is people take it literally, and then that's where many people have really went off the deep end. Um, but if you are if you meant Bible when you said I'll send you a video, you don't have to broadcast the Bible. Hey, I don't have a problem with it because there's a lot of truth there, but if you take it literally, people say, "Man, this is like a fairy tale." Well, of course it is. I mean, if you're taking it literally, a lot of it, most of it, yeah, it's not going to make sense at all. But there's truth upon truth upon truth, and it's but you have to look for it. You have to dig for it. You have to it it just doesn't jump out and say, "Here I am," you know. Truth. I mean, it's kind of sad, but you say most people are now. Most people are what I don't. Um, but yeah, but it the yep you're right. Astrology, and people say, well, astrology is of the devil. You know, no, it's not. I mean, come on. You say you lost your best friend of 30 years for not believing in the Bible. Well, wasn't very much of a friend, was it? I mean, really? That's just that's that's not really a friend. I mean, it's like um, I I have had people that say, um, well, so and so, or that person's a Satanist, and I could never be their friend. And I'm like, did they do something to you? Or, well, no, but they're a Satanist. But did they do something to you? Well, no, but, well, you know, don't believe everything you've heard or you've been told, um, because they're. I guess I'm saying don't be judgmental. Um, that's that's the main thing. Is okay, okay, Stacy. Sweet dreams to you too. Um, and we're about an hour and a half, so about to about to call it a night anyway. So thank you for being here. Certainly appreciate it. You you say the stars astrology is code. Um, okay, so you say is my very best friend, and yes, she was a good friend, but highly programmed. Well, um, that's 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 sad. It really is. Um, but that's that's a what I've been saying is that that it's not what a person believes, it's how that person treats me, and how they treat everyone else. I mean, if they're judgmental, if they're intolerant, if they hate people just because of their beliefs, then yeah, I'm not gonna be too keen on being around them. But if they're loving, and if they're about love and tolerance, um, I guess if their main focus is the heart, then yes, I don't care what a person is. They can be an atheist, they can be this or that, but I'll still call them friend. Yes, me too. And I apologize about saying that wasn't much of a friend. That was really coarse of me, and I I apologize for that. I was thinking about how I would feel and wasn't wasn't thinking about how you felt, and that was my mistake. So, but it's very sad because there's that's that's why that I hate, and I'm saying it, I hate religion and I hate politics because those two things, they've caused more bloodshed, they've caused more pain, they've caused more misery on this earth than any two things, than anything. And it just leads to it's it's evil. I mean, it's just politics and religion. Can't stand it. And you want to talk about people that are programmed? Oh, this is going to get me a lot. It's going to get me a lot of probably um, probably assassinated or attempted. But these people that actually believe that, or they call themselves proud Democrats and proud Republicans. It's like, really? You don't, you don't, you haven't realized yet that they're all on the same team? It's a show, it's a production. You know, good cop, bad cop. You know, yeah, yeah. It is a show. It's a production. It is smoke and mirrors. They're all on the same team. You, what did? That's right. Yes, two sides of the same coin. What did? What did Trump promise when he was running? He told Hillary to her face. He said, you are an evil woman. He said, a cold-hearted person. And he says, and he looked at the camera and he said, and if you elect me, he said, or if I'm elected, he said, I will put together a special council that he says, and I will see you in jail or prison. And well, where's she at? Oh, she's not in jail. She's not in prison, is she? And now, and I'm not just picking on him. I'm I'm not. I'm just saying that, hey, that's politics. He's playing his role just like everybody else. But now, listen to what he says when they ask him about Hillary Clinton. Oh, she's a great woman. She's done a lot for this country. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. What what happened to the guy that was going to put her in prison? She's an evil woman, and she's cold, and yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a production. It is literally a, yeah, very good acting. I mean, well, most of it, but yeah, and but the people, and it's people that I love and care about. I mean, they really believe that. I'm sorry, but people. Well, do you really believe that your vote counts? Do you really believe that presidents or politicians are elected. They're selected. They're selected way beforehand, way before the so-called election. Yeah. Do you really think that they're going to leave that, something that important, up in the air? And even if something like that did take place, and there was such a thing as an actual, real, fair, and just election, if the wrong person got in there, got in office that wouldn't play ball, and just blow his brains out. And that's what they did. That's what they do. Yeah. So anybody that thinks that the president is somehow in charge or the ultimate authority, think again. He's a puppet just like anybody else. And proof of that is JFK. I mean, yeah, he basically said, "I'm not playing ball. I'm going to, for the most part, he had his own faults, just like we all do, but I think that he was trying to do, mainly the right thing, and when he did, next thing you know, they blow his brains out. Yeah, definitely in this world at this time, someone that speaks the truth, yeah, they're not appreciated. Matter of fact, they're hated. So, well, maybe I'm not really sure about that. I think that if someone doesn't know what they're doing, that it's just my thought. I don't see them suffering or being punished for it, personally. But someone that intentionally does something. Um, well, it's true. What we focus on, we participate in. Yes, because focusing is participating. And yeah. And there you go. It all goes back to what? Consciousness. As a person thinks, so they are. And what do we think about? We think about expanding our consciousness. And how do you expand your consciousness? You asked that, Michelle, and the answer is, and it's another paradox, is by going inward. It's by knowing yourself. It's by knowing the endless depths of yourself, which would be the opposite of expanding. Really, it would be, gosh, I can't even explain it. Going inside yourself instead of outside yourself, and knowing yourself. I guess you could say that you go inward to a certain point. It would be kind of like a black hole or something, that you begin coming out of yourself. And I really believe that that's the case, that if we are to expand, it would be by doing it the last way that you would ever think, because we're always taught that we couldn't possibly have the answers, we couldn't possibly have the truth, we couldn't possibly be enough. You know, you need this, you need that. We, you, you need to buy this, you need to get this, and no, you have everything you need. You say knowing that all is a play. Yeah, it absolutely is. And I just want to say this in closing: is this is amazing, and it happens so much in the world today. The Oracle at Delphi, um, you know, there were people that came. I mean, from all over the world. I mean, thousands. Well, the known world, thousands of miles. You know, and they walked and um, or rode horses or whatever they did, and you know, it'd be like a year, maybe longer. You know, that they would travel to the Oracle of at Delphi just to ask her one question. You know, to go into the cave where she sat on a tripod, um, and I believe that they would be allowed to ask one question, and she would give them the answer, and they would leave and just be overjoyed, you know. And but what people don't realize is that there was an inscription over the entrance to the cave at at Delphi, at the Oracle of at Delphi, and everyone that traveled there and that waited to ask the Oracle, to ask her one question, the answer was right there. It doesn't matter what the question was. The answer was the inscription over the cave, and that was the miracle of the Oracle of Delphi. And it was know thyself. Know thyself. And people, they had to have seen that, but it didn't register with them. Why? Because they had their mind on the personal experience. She's going to tell me something that is going to be profound. Well, they were looking at, absolutely, Shakespeare said, thine own self be true. Right. And yes, the methane gases from the cave, she would be higher than a kite. I mean, she would, so, but the real answer, the only answer, know thyself. And most missed it. I mean, that they never got it. And there's just people say, well, it's hard to trust people. Yes, it is. It's very hard when you can't even trust yourself. I mean, really. I mean, I'm not being mean. I'm not being rude. I'm not trying to act all superior, because I'm not. I'm just saying that most people, they don't trust themselves. Always second guessing. And you want to talk about swaying. Oh man. They start out on their path and in truth and everything, but it's not going. It's not going quick enough for them. So what do? They sway, or they just stop altogether and say, "To hell with this." If it takes this much time and this much effort, then I'm not interested. Well, some things are worth time and effort, and that's one of them. That's right. You have to trust, love, honor, respect yourself before you can others. That's right, and that's people that that's right too, Michelle. We are all taught that what we need is outside ourselves. That we need to add. We need this. We need that. We need to have this career. We need to drive this car. We need to have this house. We need to what did Jesus say? I'm not preaching, but what did Jesus say? He says, "Don't you get it? The kingdom is within you. It's not without you. It's not on the outside of you. It's within you." And that's why that the religious leaders of that day hated his guts and said, we're going to kill him. Because the last thing they wanted was for people to look inward. Why? Because they wouldn't need them. They wouldn't need their leadership. They wouldn't need their pompous, false piety and manipulation. They wouldn't need any of that. And anyone that speaks truth and teaches truth and shows people truth, that opens blind eyes, which is literally, I honestly believe that that's what that's talking about for the most part, is someone gets it. Someone says, "Oh, wow. That's right. Wow." That's blind eyes being opened. That's a person's real eyes realizing that what's going on. Yeah. So the blind, they all of a sudden they see. And it's just, metaphors. The deaf hear. That's right. You wouldn't need the middleman. And who's the middleman? The priest. Confess your sins. Hey, to who? Yeah, well, to God, right? Right, but we're saying confess them to the middleman, because everyone knows the middleman is the one that makes the money. Money. The middleman gets the power. It's all about power, and it's not even about money anymore for the most part. I mean, do you really think that the Vatican needs more money? No. They want more power. People with power, more power is all they want, because money doesn't mean anything to them. There's so much money that it's irrelevant to them. But power, oh man, they never have enough power, and they never will. And so that leaves them always hungering for it, always ready to take it. So, but anyway, well, we're right at 2 hours. So, thank you, Michelle. Elaine and Patricia for helping and being so patient. Stacy and Mona, you very much, and for taking part. This has been very interesting, to say the least. But the just want to thank those of you who are listening who didn't take part in the chat, and those of you who are listening to the rebroadcast. If you want to contact me, you can contact me at the Texarcist podcast at gmail.com. There's a group that I started on Facebook for the podcast. If you want to search that, the Texarcist Live podcast. And again, my co-host Sue Ellen, she's on vacation, and she will be back. I believe she said June 9th. So, but yeah. So anyway, well, thank you very much, and love and light to you all. Love you all. Good night from Texas. See you next time.